Welcome to the Family Geekery Podcast, a podcast for geeks from a family of geeks. We talk about comics, video games, and anything else geeky. I'm Danny.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Chris.
And what are we doing today?
Today we're talking about GalaxyCon, since we had to take last week off because we were recuperating. And it's a good thing because I ended up getting a cold of some sort, and my voice would have been even stranger than it is right now. But we took off last week, so hopefully everybody enjoyed the little callback to Mario Day that I posted.
Oh.
But we're back this week with our GalaxyCon report for this year, our third year in a row of going to GalaxyCon. So we're going to talk all about that, things we saw, things we did. But before we get into that,
Geeky Weeks.
Let's talk about our Geeky Weeks. Amber, do you have a Geeky Week?
Yeah. I watched a movie in the theater. I saw Ready or Not, Here I Come.
Nice.
Because they know how to name things. So, it was good. I think I liked it better than the first one. But, really fun. I don't know, I wouldn't say horror movie, but like slasher movie, I guess. Good stuff. Good movie. Like a good scary movie that doesn't really take itself seriously and knows that its concept is kind of weak and just kind of plays up the gore. It was awesome. Besides that, I've been playing some of my regular games, Marvel Rivals, watching Grey's Anatomy for the umpteenth time. Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Danny?
Game-wise, my friends and I sped run Minecraft one night.
Whoa. What was your time?
Oh, a few hours, because we got the unluckiest spawn. We got spawned in a winter, forest surrounded by an ice spikes biome. So,
no trees.
No food.
Oh, no.
So we spent the first 30 minutes trying to find actual forest. And then we went from there. But it was good. We beat it.
Nice.
And then I'm watching The Pit.
Ooh.
I think I'm almost done with season 1. But I keep getting kicked out of HBO, so it's a process. And then I don't think I've seen any movies recently.
Gotta catch up.
Yeah. I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, I saw a couple of movies. Well, we did have 2 weeks to report back on, so I saw that
17 movies.
Ready or Not with Amber. That was really good. And I also saw Project Hail Mary. And that was excellent. Good. It's always interesting to see how they create a movie out of a book, because the whole time I was reading the book, I knew there was a movie coming out, and I'm always thinking ooh, how are they going to do this, or what parts are they going to cut, because it would be a 17-hour movie if they didn't cut anything out of the book.
Right.
And they did a great job. Some of the things that I thought that they'd have to cut or shorten or change, they did, but it all worked towards the story itself, the main story, and they nailed the ending, so good job.
I heard they're making an Artemis movie, which is another one of his books. At least I think I saw it on the director's IMDb page or something.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's adapting another one of those books. And that's the one that I have in my house that I have not read yet. So maybe I'll be prepared in the next couple of years.
And I think we're just a couple days away from the Artemis rocket to actually go. The real one.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's bringing 4 astronauts around the moon and back.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is one of them Katy Perry?
No, she's already been in space.
Okay. Allegedly.
Yeah, I saw those movies. Your mom and I kind of binged through Traitors season 3. Since you made us watch season 4, and now we're working our way back watching some of the older ones.
You just gotta watch Big Brother now. Trust me.
Is it good enough?
Oh, it's so good, and there's so much TV. It's kind of a commitment because it's three nights a week.
Oh.
Hey, I did Love Island. That was 6 nights a week.
And then I finished the book I was reading, The Dungeon Crawler Carl. And not to spoil anything, but the whole premise is he's in a dungeon and there's 18 levels. And about 14 hours into it, he's on level 2. I'm like, what's happening? Because I did not research anything other than just grabbing this book. Well, there's 7 books in the series so far. The 8th one comes out in May.
Oh.
So, yeah, and it may appear like a cash cow. I'm sure it is a cash cow, but they've got each of the books on Audible has 20 to 50,000 reviews, and all of them are 4.9 stars. So, whether it's a cash cow or not, there's apparently well received. So I will wait for Audible to beg me back into their fold, and once they do, I will use my credits to continue on in that series. But that's about it for me, so let's get into the main episode here. We're talking about GalaxyCon 2026.
Woo.
And this year we went all out, which means we got the 4-day pass, whether we used all 4 days or not.
I did.
One of us did. The other ones didn't, yeah.
I
but
was
we got
dying.
the 4-day pass.
I committed.
And I booked the hotel that is attached to the convention center so that all we'd have to do is stumble out of bed,
You spoiled us.
put some food in our mouth, and then stumble into the con. We didn't have to play parking games every day and walk through the city and hang out with the other plebeians. We just walked in like rock stars, and
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the only way to do it from now on.
And we walked out like rock stars. We walked in and out like 5 times every day.
Every day. But yeah, that was good. So let's talk about some of the things that we didn't see. I'm going to start off with talking about cosplay and walking into the con, just breaching the threshold, spotting someone, the very first person that I saw, and I immediately recognized them as Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I walked up to the dude and said, "Hey, are you Carl?" And he's like, "Yeah." He smiled. He was happy that he was recognized, because the Dungeon Crawler Carl is famous for not having any pants. He just has, white boxer shorts with hearts on them.
Classic.
And I didn't think that would appear in the con, but it did. So leather jacket, boxer shorts. The guy did a great job. So that was my first and probably most notable. I mean, there's some great costumes there.
Props to cosplay like a book character. Like, a lot of cosplayers do so well because there's like video game models and stuff that you can get every single detail right. But like a book character, like maybe they're on the cover.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. How about you guys? What cosplays did you get that were memorable?
I only took one picture with a cosplayer this year. I think there was less of... Oh, that's a lie. I'll just talk about the one I got a picture with first. I got a picture with a girl dressed as Pomni from Digital Circus, which it was quite a cool topic of conversation because an episode of it came out, I think, that Friday night. And so, like, that first Friday, everybody was like, "Oh, are you excited for the episode? Oh, I'm scared. What's going to happen in the episode?" Because it's an independent web series and takes months for them to get episodes out. And there was, and Pomni's like a clown-like character. Super, super cool. And a lot of the characters in that show have really cool character designs. Like, one of them is like a a chess piece, like a king chess piece with like a robe, and there was somebody there also cosplayed as him with like the head, or maybe he's a rook, I don't know, whichever piece he is. They had made a helmet that looked like his character too, so that was kind of cool. And then I was gonna say, Marvel Rivals wasn't super represented, and it wasn't as much as last year for sure, but I did see somebody cosplay as the new Psylocke skin. It's like a disco Psylocke. I know, they have all these disco skins and no Dazzler. Come on. It's like their thing right now. I guess it's for Luna Snow's 8th anniversary is what they're calling it. And for some reason, it's disco themed. Don't know why. Where's Dazzler? She was like, she's the queen. Like, what are you doing? No, but like that skin came out just a couple weeks ago, and this person had like the wig, the outfit, like sequins and butterfly bedazzled, like it was really cool to see that Psylocke skin.
Cool.
Nice.
How about you, Danny?
I saw Rick Grimes and Negan.
Oh yeah, I saw them.
They were at the Starbucks. They don't get Starbucks in the apocalypse, so
That's
they're
right.
taking
No,
advantage.
they don't.
Who else did I see?
Baristas could probably live for a long time in the apocalypse. They deal with a lot of crap.
Yeah. A lot of Spider-Mans, a lot of Supermans, especially because of Superman, who walked by us.
Yeah.
Tom
Tom
Welling. Friend of the podcast.
We were 10 feet away from him. He's a friend of the podcast.
I slipped a business card in the back of his pocket.
Congratulations, Tom. You're in the fold now. Yeah, I think together we saw a couple pretty cool ones. Who was there that saw the Date Everything? Is it Date Everything? Date Anything?
Oh, Date Everything.
Date
Yeah,
Everything.
the people that you were... Oh, that was me.
Yeah, someone
Yeah. We were waiting for our desserts.
cosplaying as Holly, which is a holiday-themed object that turns into a person in Date Anything.
Date Everything.
Date Everything. I'll never get that right.
But you kind of do. You can date anything.
Date something.
Date your desk.
Who was there when there was just an amazing costume that we didn't recognize in the elevator? Very well. I forget if you were there or not, but I asked, like, hey, what it's got to be?
What are you?
It's got to be Mario themed because it had kind of a Mario vibe to it.
Oh.
And she said, yes, I'm so and so, and she named some person. It was a person that was going to be in the new Mario Sunshine, Star something, Mario.
Yep.
Whatever the new Mario Galaxy movie is.
Movie?
That's coming out like in 2 days as of the time of recording. So,
it wasn't like a Bowsette or a Goombette or something like that, was it?
No. I think it was someone from
those are popular.
another planet or something.
Oh.
But it was amazing. So that was pretty cool. Saw a couple Squirrel Girls. Did you see them?
No.
I think I saw a Squirrel Girl.
I didn't see any Squirrel Girls.
Yeah, they were pretty good. But yeah, lots of great cosplays, and Amber almost got to see the cosplay contest.
God,
not?
I don't know why they did it the way that they did it this year. Or maybe last year I just got lucky. But the cosplay show starts at like 8... What was it? Like 8 o'clock on the Saturday night. And I was like, okay, 15 minutes early. I'll be fine. Like, sure. But I walked up to the area, and the entire upstairs, which is like a giant hallway, was packed with like a line to get in. And I was like, I'm not going to wait here. So I just went into the panel room that you were sitting at for a different panel. But last year it was different. Like, the showroom was open, and I mean, I had a friend saving a couple of seats for us, but I don't know what it was, because like at the starting time is when people started loading in, so I don't know if they had some sort of delay with the cosplay lineup, or maybe the thing that was in the room beforehand went long. I'm not sure, but I didn't want to risk it, even though I really wanted to see the cosplay competition.
Yeah, and the line was so crazy. It reminded me of like standing in line at a theme park's Halloween haunted maze or something, where you
Yeah.
walk up to the line and you're like, "Oh man, this is a really long line," and then you stand next to someone and they're like, "No, it starts over there."
Yeah.
And they had to break the line for traffic control, and then you look down and there's another bazillion people further, and okay, yep, that's not going to happen.
Nope.
But we
Yeah.
had plenty of days to see plenty of things. So let's talk about some of the things, some of the breakout rooms, some of the little discussions that we saw, some of the notable ones. And I've been to a lot of, like big conferences where if you want to see this famous person talk about this thing, then it may be Friday at noon, and then it will also be Saturday at 4, and then it'll also be Sunday at 2 or something. So that if you miss it, if it conflicts with something that you want to see on one day, you can go and see that thing another day. In this case, we get 4 days. There is absolutely no repeating, and
Yeah.
there is
Right.
always conflicts because everything launches on a half hour, but they're like an hour long. So you may be sitting in something for half an hour or 15 minutes and then have to go run to another thing. So there was plenty of things to see, and we had plenty of time. Who wants to point out some of the things that they really enjoyed?
I like the comedy show we saw. D&D comedy show.
Yeah, there was a
Role
improv
play.
show.
Is that
What did they...
Crits and Giggles?
Crits and Giggles. Yeah.
They had some audience interaction.
Yeah, they were fun. Basically turned improv into a little mini D&D campaign, taking some stories from the audience that were very loosely tied into their improv. I think they could have done a little more like based on the audience stories, but I mean, it was entertaining all the way through. A little silly.
That's cool. I think some of us saw several things. I saw several things. I know some of you sat in with me with Guy Hutchinson, who is a podcaster, YouTuber / broadcaster, author, who has a YouTube channel currently called Pointless Nostalgia. And there was 3 events that I went to. I went to the commercial jingles. I think that was with your mom. And that was really funny, seeing some old jingles from when we grew up. Forgotten Theme Parks.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the one that you ended up coming into because... Or was that... Oh,
No, I wanted to go to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was and then the next day was Retro Game Showdown. It was the Atari one that you ended up coming to because the
Yeah.
cosplay was closed. So Retro Game Showdown, which I thought was going to be about retro video games, but it was... He
was
actually
board
had
games.
some retro board games that I had never seen any of these before. And he had audience members come up and play against him and his other panel members.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was fun.
So that was neat. What other things did you guys see?
Well, kind of, there were a couple of guys like Guy Hutchinson, and he had some pals that he shared his panels with. One of them was the Snoopy guy,
Oh, yeah.
who did the retro, the Saturday morning cartoons and the retro games with him. And then we also saw This Week in Disney in History.
Yeah, This Week
from-
in Disney History. Yep.
Yeah. What was his name?
I
Did it
forget.
say on there?
But,
Oh,
but he teaches that Full Sail down in Orlando.
yeah. And I think he's like pretty involved with GalaxyCon because he talked a little bit about some behind the scenes stuff that he does. And we saw him do the This Week in Disney History and the History of Atari.
Yeah, Atari versus the world.
Yeah, which was kind of silly that I didn't know that Atari is still in business, and it seems like nobody wants them to be in business, but they're still scraping by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, they're actually doing pretty good. They're not doing as well as what they thought they were going to do with the hotels. What they say they were going to open 17 hotels, and they've reduced that down to 1. They're
planning on 1. But I think it's so funny that they were at one point owned by Hasbro, and you've heard me talk about Hasbro before. They own Wizards of the Coast and have really messed up the state of Magic the Gathering recently because they're so greedy. I think it's so funny that they ditched Atari. They're like, nope, we can't even profit off of you. We can't do that. So, yeah, that was kind of fun to hear that.
And then we also went to several Q&As. I'll list out the Q&As that I went to. First one I think was Jason Mewes from Clerks and all the Kevin Smith movies. That was great. I went briefly in to go see Chris Claremont because we saw him, last year? And I just wanted to see what else he was talking about. And it was kind of more of the same, but he did say something that was really insightful. And he was talking, I don't know if the guy that was there interviewing him was someone from Hollywood, if he was a movie guy. But he talked about how when he writes comics, like he writes comics, right? He writes a story, and that's the story. And he said in the movies, someone writes it, of course, whether it's based on a comic or a book or a screenplay or, something. So the writer writes it, and then the actor has their take on that part that they're playing. So they may change words or actions or even, mood based on the actor, what the actor thinks. And then the director, of course, has their input. And he says that's why, the comic book movies sometimes get kind of changed or messed up in his mind. He's like, when I write a comic, that's it. The comic's there. But movies have a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So I thought that was pretty neat. I never really thought of it that way. And then got to see one of my heroes, Lou Ferrigno. That was a great Q&A. And then I'll save the last one for all of us. Go ahead and list out some Q&As you guys saw.
I saw Edgar Wright, the director. He made one of my favorite movies, Last Night in Soho, but he's probably more famous for like Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which I've seen. That one I've seen, and I like that a lot. But there were a lot of people asking him about like Shaun of the Dead, and I guess they call it like there's like 3 of his movies all include the same type of ice cream, I guess. So they call it like that brand trilogy, even though none of the movies have anything to do with each other.
Oh, that's funny.
So there were a lot of questions about, American movies versus British movies, because he's British. And like Scott Pilgrim is like based in Canada and stuff, and Baby Driver's in, I think, Atlanta. But then Last Night in Soho is in England. So it's cool that he can like do so many different kind of styles of movies. And it was fun. And then we also saw the Superman panel with Tom Welling, friend of the podcast. And then also Brandon something.
Superman.
Not friend of the podcast.
Which he was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, so that was what I knew him from. He was in some Superman movie I've never seen, but yeah, they were cool. I think I was expecting Tom Welling to get a lot more focused questions, because beforehand they were like, all right, we're gonna have questions aimed at both of them about Superman. Like, try not to just single out one of them. And a couple people did that, but they targeted them towards Brandon and not Tom Welling about Smallville. I was like, oh, to me, Smallville's way more famous. So, I don't know. But.
But Superman is a lot more famous than Clark Kent.
True.
And what about you, Danny? Did you see any Q&As besides the final one that we saw together?
I don't think Danny even saw the final one.
Oh.
What was the final one?
Oh, that's right.
I don't think I saw any Q&As. I wanted to go to the Flash one, because that was a show I watched a lot of, and like all those actors, but I think it was either at a late time or during while we were doing something else, and I was a little sickly child, so
I think it was like first thing in the morning is what it was.
yeah, maybe. And I missed it.
11 a.m. first thing in the morning.
Yeah, but my GalaxyCon was cut short because I was not feeling too great.
Under the weather.
Very under the weather.
Under the galaxy.
We may have inadvertently created a super spreader event,
Yeah.
I didn't get sick.
but nobody heard that from us.
That's not on me.
So it wasn't that super.
Okay, but we were packed in like sardines on Saturday, so
Oh my gosh.
they need to sell less tickets.
Yeah.
And they were still advertising the tickets that morning. They're like, come and get it. We're almost sold out. I'm like, no. I think you've made enough
Then
money.
like midway through the day, they announced we're sold out. We're
Yeah,
sold
they were
out.
counting them
like-
down. Like, we've got 7 Saturday tickets left.
Yeah. And if you don't want to get Saturday tickets, we still have Saturday, Sunday tickets. Come
Well,
and get them.
Guess what, GalaxyCon? I think Saturday you sold about 400 too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, capitalism. That's how they make their money.
And it makes sense. Saturday's a weekend. So.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
on a Friday.
We finished off the con with a final Q&A. And I got to say, it's probably one of the best speakers that I've seen. And that was Steve Burns from
Yeah.
Blue's Clues fame. Did you enjoy that, Amber?
Oh, I really did. I think he got a lot of tough questions and a lot of emotional questions. And he was like the most humble, down-to-earth guy about all of it. Like, you could tell he was not expecting any of the fame that came to him. Like, when he was on Blue's Clues, and then a couple of years ago when he like made the Blue's Clues video for his friends that were all grown up, he was not expecting any of that fame. And he handled it really well.
Yeah. He said a couple times when somebody would ask him for advice, you know, he said that he does not feel qualified to give advice. And then he'd follow that up with, but
The best advice.
I can say this. And it was just the most thoughtful and, you know, at best advice, you know, he could be a motivational speaker or, you know, he did a great job.
Yeah. And it was cool to hear him talk about his time on Law and Order. Because I guess he had to play an autistic person on Law and Order, and he said that he had friends with autism that he kind of drew inspiration from. And the directors were like, hey, just like act crazy. And he's like, no, like that's like super offensive. Like, I'm going to not do that. I'm going to do this gracefully. And I think that was really cool, especially because a lot of the people who went up and asked questions seemed to be on the spectrum, or and some of them even said that they had kids on the spectrum or were on the spectrum. So it was really cool to see him kind of be a model for them, even if he himself isn't.
Very nice.
Very cool. Besides the Q&As and the breakout things that we did last year, you guys went and you know, met a couple people at their tables. Did you do that this year?
No. Actually, yes. We did see that Danielle Panabaker's line was at a lull moment at one point, and she was from a couple of Disney Channel movies, but I think she was there for The Flash.
Yeah.
And so she was in like Sky High and Read It and Weep. So I just wanted to go and say hi and like thank you for the movies you made. I loved them as a kid, and they're still really good now. So
That's cool.
yeah, but she was the only person that I really talked to. I know they always have a lot of has-been voice actors and a lot of anime voice actors, but I don't know what
to
it is.
clarify, there's a show called Has-Been
Has-Been Hotel.
There was not.
Not has
We are
been.
not saying that there's a bunch of has-beens there.
There were a couple has-beens there. But I don't know. I've just not been watching anime, and I didn't watch season 2 of Has-Been Hotel, so I was just like, can we be done with Has-Been Hotel, please?
It fascinates me how voice actors, and please know that I have all the respect for voice actors, but it fascinates me how they can draw such crowds to their tables because they're a person that you've likely never seen before.
Yeah.
Right, you don't
But
see
you've
their
heard
face.
on, and all of them have a montage behind them of like 20 different projects that they've done. So
Yeah.
uberly talented. But it always fascinates me how they draw such crowds and they have such a fan base based on their craft, which is again a wonderful craft.
Yeah. Like, it would have been cool to meet Christina V, but I got her signature 2 years ago, so that's cool. But some of those lines are just so long, and you wait for like an hour to get like 15 seconds with them. And like for some people that's like everything, and that's really cool. It's just not for me unless there's something I really want.
Yeah, there's one artist, one comic book artist / writer that I wanted to see out of the many. There were some actual legends there, but there's one that I wanted to see. And as I walked by, he was away from his booth, but he had a sign up that said autographs as long as they're personalized, up to 2 autographs for free, and a picture is free as long as you use your phone.
Wow.
And that was honestly not the norm, right? Most people,
No, not the norm at all.
they charge
60
something, and
bucks.
again, they got some legends there. They certainly deserve what they get.
Yeah.
And this guy, Larry Hama, which I've met before, and I think we talked about on the podcast before, who wrote, I think, all of the G.I. Joe series, especially the ones when I was collecting comics back in the 80s. And I'd picked up a couple G.I. Joe comics specifically for him to autograph, and I don't think you guys saw them. But I've got issue number 42 here, which is an iconic cover of Storm Shadow. Got him to sign that. And then issue number 53, which is an iconic photo or drawing of Snake Eyes. So the two most famous, I guess, ninjas, if you will, because ninjas were all the rage back in the 80s. Just look at the Turtles and everything. Even the movies with the tiny kid actors that were ninjas. Ninjas were everything. So I told him, hey, last time I met you, I had you sign, one of your best stories. This year I wanted to bring you 2 of your best ninjas. And he was tickled to do that. So
Aw.
hats off to Mr. Larry Hama. You're one of the
So-
greats.
Don't you have one of the like really expensive G.I. Joe comics?
I do, and I didn't even think to bring it, but
That would have been cool.
I probably wouldn't have had him sign, once from my collection anyway. So I bought these specifically for him to sign. Maybe I'll get them
Framed up.
slabbed or framed or something. But yeah,
Cool.
very cool. So anything else about the con that you guys want to talk about? We talked about who we saw, the Q&As we did, the cosplays we saw. Anything else?
A lot of amazing artists in Artist Alley,
Oh yeah.
of course. I know they put a lot of effort into those booths.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and that's a big show floor.
I just wish they'd stop drawing the same fan art for the same characters every single year. I know it's what sells, but like, come on, everyone draws Genshin. Please, somebody draw Fire Emblem. Please.
I'm sure it goes through waves of popularity.
Bring FNAF back. I'm done with Has-Been Hotel. Please. Maybe I'm just old now.
Just
Maybe
old and
that's
grumpy.
what it is.
Bonk.
Welcome to Team Grumpy. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for this show and for this GalaxyCon report. Let us know if you went to GalaxyCon this year. There
Yeah.
are, 7 or 8 of them across the country. Let us know if you went to one of them. Send us an email, podcast@familygeekery.com, or hit us up on one of our socials. But we want to thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for the patience in missing last week. We'll be back next week with a new episode, so stay tuned. And until next time, peace out.
Peace out.
And
geek
geek
out.
out.
Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.